This is William Michael of the Classical Liberal Arts Academy, and today is Wednesday, November 10th. I'd like to provide an update on the status of petty school courses in the Classical Liberal Arts Academy. If you look on the study center at the courses listed under the petty school subject heading, you'll see that the number of courses available is being reduced to 4. I floated the idea this fall of adding a few courses, but as I reflected on that, I realized it was a bad idea. The goal of the petty school courses is not to provide hours and hours of video content for children, because that's already available. There are countless hours of resources available on YouTube and elsewhere on the internet or by video, and the petty school courses are not intended to be an addition to that multimedia content. The purpose of the petty school courses is to help younger students become independent learners by developing their abilities to read, to write, to understand and work with the basic concepts in arithmetic, and to gain a familiarity with the content of the Bible. That's the purpose of the petty school courses. The petty school courses are not intended to be studied by children on their own without supervision. They're not intended to be used as a babysitting device for children. They're intended to be used by parents for children who they're preparing to get started with classical studies. And I think this summer I allowed myself to get sucked in a little bit too much into the idea of providing parents with some babysitting resources and lost sight of the goal of those petty school courses. The Classical Liberal Arts Academy in no way depends on those petty school courses. They're not essential for any students. They're intended just as an entrance ramp to help students get up to speed as early as possible. And I need to make sure that the petty school courses don't become a distraction and an end in themselves, but serve their purpose as efficiently as possible. So the only courses we'll be offering in the petty school will be the original petty school courses: petty school reading, petty school writing, petty school arithmetic, and we're adding petty school Bible. The petty school Bible course will be taught by Mr. Jared Hazelbarth, who's been involved in the academy with me since the very beginning. He was a dean at St. Charles Borromeo Seminary a few years back, has a master's degree in theology, as a homeschooling father himself, and will do a great job with the Bible course. I recommend that for little ones, getting them introduced to the stories of the Bible, being carefully and clearly read by Mr. Hazelbarth. And the other 3 courses, the petty school reading, petty school writing, petty school arithmetic courses, will be produced by me. Now, back in 2009, 2010, these courses were completely published and produced, but unfortunately, they were published with or in Adobe Flash format, and the internet chose to reject Adobe Flash format, and this past year, anything produced in Adobe Flash was made to be no longer accessible on the internet. And so those original 3 courses I had produced, which were our most popular courses, believe it or not. Those courses, at least the videos for those courses, are useless now, and I need to reproduce all of that content. But I just haven't had a clear sense of what I should do with the Petty School program, and so rather than jumping into things and working and doing something that I wasn't satisfied with, I chose to just put it on the shelf until I had a clear sense of what I should do. And I'm pretty confident that I have a clear sense now of what we're going to do. So those courses, as I said, are not necessary in any way for any students to get started in the Classical Liberal Arts Academy or succeed in the Classical Liberal Arts Academy. They're simply intended, as I said, as an entrance ramp to help students make an easier beginning in the Classical Liberal Arts Academy. What I'm doing for these courses in Petty School reading, I'll be teaching exactly what I taught in the original Petty School reading course, and this is a very different approach to reading. What I do is I begin by teaching children the classical Latin sounds of the letters that we recognize in English. And the reason why I do that is because in classical Latin, each letter represents only one sound, and phonics is very simple. And so I walk the children through the alphabet, teaching them just one sound per letter, and we practice reading Latin words that most of them are already familiar with as Catholics. That teaches them the basic concepts of phonics and gives them a simple beginning in their study of reading. And then what I do is I move from the classical Latin sounds to the later ecclesiastical sounds that are introduced in the Middle Ages, and I explain what the changes are and what new sounds are introduced. We minimize the complexity the children have to face. We minimize the options the children have and just focus on a few changes that need to be learned and focused on. Once the children work through those, then we move on to Old and Middle English and the new sounds that enter with their symbols, and then into Modern English. And by the time kids are finished with the course, they should be very comfortable reading in English, and they should also be comfortable with making out Latin words as well. So it's a unique approach to reading. I believe it's more logical than modern reading programs, especially for little ones, because we focus on one sound per letter at a time, and we've had success using that program to teach children to read for quite a long time now. So that's for Petty School reading. For Petty School writing, we simply get the kids working on the physical, mechanical skills that they need to be able to form letters and copy neatly. And the key there is just repetition. The kids have to be made to copy and copy and copy. Handwriting should be considered an art class, just like a good art student would be expected to draw some object accurately, so children should be expected to write letters accurately, to look at a sample to see what the letters are supposed to look like, and then produce that on their own paper. Then as their reading skills develop and as they approach the age of reason, they'll have the ability to put on paper what they think and say, and they should be in good shape early on. And then in Petty School arithmetic, we simply want to introduce the kids as efficiently and early as possible to the basic concepts in arithmetic, teaching them the numbers, teaching them to read and identify the numbers and their names and their symbols, teaching them basic concepts like place value and things like that to get them a head start in their arithmetic studies. And that's it for petty school reading, writing, and arithmetic. I want to keep it simple. One thing we have to, or a couple things we have to realize is that when I first published the petty school courses back in 2009, 2010, we didn't have many of the courses that are available now. We didn't have the English reading course. We didn't have the modern arithmetic courses. We didn't have the Catholic Bible and daily scripture reading courses set up. And so those petty school courses were really necessary to help the kids get started. The curriculum at that time started with Latin Grammar 1, which is a pretty steep first step. And now that's not the case anymore in the academy, so there's a lot less need for the petty school courses, but I still think that the need is there, the need exists, and I'd like to serve that need. But I'm going to do so with just these 4 key courses at the petty school level. So that's an update on the status of petty school courses. If you have any questions about those courses, please just post on this thread here on the forum, and I'll respond. But we should be clear to move forward, and I'm planning, as we get into the holiday season, to buckle down on these courses and get them going. I'm sorry for the delay, but I've had other issues to work on in the academy, and I just haven't had confidence that what I was going to do with the petty school program was good and in our best interest long term, and so I chose to just put a hold on that, and I'm hoping to get to work on that soon. God bless.